This is The Wealth Puzzle with Michael Mansfield from the Lynn Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Michael provides his clients and prospects with the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful solutions to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, here is The Wealth Puzzle with Michael Mansfield.
Hello, everybody. Happy belated Thanksgiving.
Yay.
Happy early Christmas. Merry early Christmas, actually. Tana's here. This is our early Christmas present.
Oh, thank you. Happy to be
back in action, down to business.
Yes.
How's the weather in Texas, Tana? Is it
It's
cooling
beautiful.
down
Yeah, it has. It's beautiful.
I was
Just
told
very
it was
mild
terrible.
weather.
Everybody I say, we should move to Texas. They say, the weather and the bugs. Why would you want to go to Texas?
All right. It gets a little crazy in the summer. I'm not going to lie. The heat does.
Something.
Yeah. Everything's air conditioned.
Well,
so
happy holidays.
That makes it comfortable.
And as our early Christmas present, we want to give everybody a stock market going up. So fortunately,
yes.
November has been, the theme of stock markets going up.
Which we've been talking about all year. That was our hope is fourth quarter. We were going to see it, come up. So that was good.
Well, that's actually a great point. We made a video maybe 2 months ago or something. If everyone wants to go check the tape. And what we talked about is Tana and I believe in historical norms in the market. One of those very common historical norms in the market is when the stock market is up big in the first half, it's garbage in the second half in October. And then the final phase of the fourth quarter, it tends to rally, close to 5%. We're actually over 5% this year. So we're actually even kind of disproportionately beating 6%. The statistic at the moment. Yep. So to that theme, well, Tana, why is the stock market going up? Because we said it would? Probably because you and your husband are independently wealthy and just buy so many stocks. You've been propping the whole thing up.
That'd be great, but no. No. So third quarter earnings have been okay. And so with that, it's a good thing. It's helping. And also, well, like you mentioned, the S&P 500 has increased over the year 5.7%. So that is great news. Also, inflation is coming down, which is great. It's giving people that hope that, the feds are done raising rates. So that makes a big, change in the market.
Well, that's an interesting point. So that 5.7% you're referencing is the earnings year over year, quarter over quarter. So right now we're working through earnings. They're pretty much done. Like Tana said, earnings are up almost 6%. To put some context to that of why that's good for the market is we've had negative year over year earnings growth for like the last 3 or 4 quarters. This is the first quarter where when you compare quarter versus quarter, so that's third quarter of 2022 to third quarter of 2023, companies have actually grown and made a little bit of money year over year. We finally have some signs of life coming out. Hello, we're here. So earnings are good. And then, like you said, inflation has come down. And, we got the inflation read here in November, and it was positive. It basically flat.
Yeah, and, same as September, right?
And because of that, everyone says, the feds are done. So let's check the tape. We've got all this garbage on pretty slides. So this is an interesting slide. So this is FactSet. FactSet is an analytics website. Everybody can go here and find this data when they're super bored. It's just nice because they aggregate all of the earnings data here. So the way that it works is these bars show what is the S&P 500 dollar amount earnings expected. And I know it's hard to see. So like I said, go Googly it yourself. But in 2022, it's this bar. I don't know. You can't see it. I don't know how to write on here. In 2022, actual earnings came in at $219. In 2023, they're only $221. What that says is earnings are barely higher. Let's call that flat year over year. And that's because we had 3 quarters or 2 quarters or whatever of negative earnings. We finally have this positive quarter going into the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter isn't expected to do as much. But, there's a little bit of growth there. But when you look at 2024 earnings projection, they go from $221 to $246. So analysts, now remember, analysts are geniuses. analysts are all expecting some pretty healthy growth in 2024. A lot of that is predicated on what Tana just said. And that's, well, what's the Fed doing?
Right.
The Fed's going to leave us alone for once. So here's your inflation, Tana. So you can kind of see month over month for October. Inflation grew at a whopping 0.04%. To put that in a little bit of context, if we come down here into the guts of this thing, you can see the month prior, inflation grew at 0.4%, 10 times higher. In August, it was 0.6%. So we've had some much bigger, meaningful inflation reads that can be problematic, obviously, with what Mr. Fed's going to do. If we go to year over year inflation, that's the number everybody sees in the headlines. That's what you're reading at the top of the New York Times or whatever fancy magazine, newspaper you read. So the annualized number for consumer price index was just over 3.2%, right? But once again, you scrizzle manizzle down here, and you see in September is 3.7, and geez Louise, I highlighted it all. But let's back up in time. Remember June of 22?
Yeah.
Annualized inflation hit, what was that number, Tana?
9.
9.
Yeah.
9. That's brutal.
Yeah.
3% sounds better than 9%. So inflation's still humming along. It's still purring like a kitten. It's technically higher than what the Feds want to see. But the industry, remember this, we pull up this tool all the time. This is what the Feds use to predict, this is what the industry uses to predict what the Fed is going to do. So we actually have a Fed meeting on December 13th. There is a 99.7% chance that the Feds are going to keep rates at 5.25%. That's basically where they are currently. So would you call that 100% almost, Tana?
Yes. They're just going to stay flat.
Almost 100%?
Yeah.
So everybody is guessing that the Feds aren't doing anything.
Right.
We go to the January meeting. There is a 85% chance at the moment they do nothing. There's a 12% chance they cut a quarter point, and there's a whopping 2% chance at the moment that they could increase a quarter point. So the odds are in the favor that the Feds are doing nothing and or starting to cut. You go to March. There's only a 40% chance the Feds have stayed in the same place. There's now a 56% chance they've cut rates. Now, remember, to put this in context, why does this matter? When you cut rates in the stock market, it ultimately works like steroids. Because if you make mortgages cheaper, you make car loans cheaper, you make business loans cheaper, you make any kind of money transaction cheaper, what do people do? Do they think as long about buying something? No. They go buy it because we're humans. And you speed up the velocity of money. You speed up the velocity of economics. Now, it takes a few months for this stuff to hit the economy. But once these rate cuts go in, all of a sudden, the stock market might be really rallying pretty hard a few months after this. Now, Tana, do you think that maybe any of this could have anything to do with politics? I don't want to offend anybody talking about politics. I've gotten in trouble here before. But do you think that the stock market going up could be beneficial for anybody trying to get reelected for something for president?
Absolutely.
You think, maybe,
100%.
like, you sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist. So how dare you even suggest that? What people don't always like to realize, though, is let's be fair. Politics and economics and finances, all this stuff is grossly over intertwined. And the reality is Biden wants to be reelected next November at the moment. And he has a problem with reelection, right? The problem is the only thing he has going for him is he's not Trump. The border's a nightmare. Our U.S. debt's a nightmare. Our economics are a mess. Foreign affairs are a nightmare. Pick your poison. The president has a lot of issues going on. And so he would really benefit mathematically in the populace with a healthy stock market, because that brings up pension plans, that brings up 401k plans. That's very positive in the union structure, which drives a lot of votes. And so I'm of the opinion that next year is going to be a very interesting year, because if Biden's winking at Powell saying, hot diggity dog, if you start cutting rates, you and I get to keep our jobs next November, you know, the mystery of Powell cutting rates really makes a lot of sense. The other thing that is a fascinating issue that's shaping up is, let me take this off for a moment so we can see our big ugly mugs, is between September and October, month over month, the cost of interest to service our national debt doubled as a line item. How's that sound, Tana? If all of a
That was
sudden
terrible.
your bills doubled, how would you feel?
I would not be able to sleep at night.
She makes
be
plenty
terrible.
of money. Everyone's worrying about you. We're gonna start a GoFundMe page for Tana. It's called "Pay Her Interest on Her Debt." Oh.
No. I just like to stay out of debt. Thank you.
Trying to help
I don't
the cause.
like that stress.
And so the issue is, like, when you think about it, is the government has this $34 trillion of bond issuances out there. Well, you go back a year or two ago when the government issued a 1-year bond, the interest on it was like 0.1%. It was nothing.
Yep.
And now they're refinancing this stuff at 4 and 5%.
Yeah,
so as those short-term treasuries are coming due, we are getting destroyed. And so Powell is in a pickle because if he cuts rates too soon, he could actually reignite inflation. Whoops. Don't want to do that until they feel it's under control. At the same token, if he keeps rates high or raises them higher or keeps them consistent for too long, refinancing all of this debt might be the next thing that puts our country out of business. Right. So pick your poison.
Very good point.
It's a mess. It is a mess. So anyways, sorry, that was a tangent. Tana and I didn't even know I was going to go down. I'm just there. So let's talk about kind of some economic things that are healthy, unhealthy, interesting, because we have a lot going on in this world. One of the things I like to always reinforce is there are less people working today in the United States participating in the labor force than there were pre-COVID. That's what this chart shows. This little bump before it falls off the cliff, that's COVID hitting. So that's back in 2020. And so you can just see the chart, even though it's been slowly grinding higher, we still haven't even gotten to a participation rate in the U.S. economy that is the same previously.
Yeah.
What that means, you decide. Did more people retire that are baby boomers? Did younger people not go back to the workforce because there was enough incentives to keep them? I don't know what they do, so I'm not even going to comment. Then we have unemployment. Unemployment, kind of hit a historical low once again. Earlier in the year was at 3.4%. What's the number now, Tana?
3.9.
3.9. So it's up 0.5%. Still low, but starting to trend up. Honestly, that's what the Federal Reserve wanted.
Yeah, they want that.
Hey, we want to break the back of inflation by kind of softening up the labor market. Well, it's starting to soften. Okay. Now, boy, do we love to spend our money. Proud to be an American.
Did you buy anything on Black Friday?
A bunch of crap I don't need. So actually, we did. So here at the Lind Group, we invested $340 and we purchased a new conference room TV.
Nice.
And it was because, it's a technical issue I was having with the old TV with the resolution on the laptop. It wasn't working right. I got a 65-inch TV, a Toshiba. I don't know what it's called. It was like $340.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
So my tax guy told me it's only half that by the time I put it on my tax return. So I figured, what the heck? But look at this. This is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Remember, we have hyperinflation. People are stressed out. The savings rates are way down. All of these things that we hear about in the news, are problematic. And here on Black Friday, just on online sales, the U.S. spent $10 billion, up almost 8% from the year prior.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That is.
Now, what's funny about this is I've told this story to a lot of people. So if you've been in my office, you've heard this story. But it's such an interesting story to me that when you go back a month or two ago, when third quarter GDP was coming out oddly high, which is its own ridiculous conversation about government spending, Janet Yellen was on the news. And Janet Yellen, as our finance czar of smart all things, was saying, hey, the U.S. economy is doing great because consumers are spending money and we're a consumer-driven economy. Well, here it is. Here's the manifestation that she's correct, right? People are spending boatloads of money.
Yeah, but they're spending it on credit cards.
Tana.
That's the problem.
That's not a problem. Why is that a problem? You're the problem for saying that's a problem.
It's not a problem if they're paying their bill. But
do we have credit?
I worry that they're not paying their bills.
Here it is, credit card debt. So here it is. So this is funny. So when I'm watching the news a couple months ago and Janet Yellen's talking, literally, the next soundbite on CNBC was, hey, look, consumer credit card debt just hit an all-time high of $1 trillion. And I'm thinking like, wait, Janet just got done telling us that the economy is healthy because people are spending money. And now the next person's telling me that, oh, well, they're not really spending their money, like Tana said. They're putting it on the old credit card. But the cool thing is credit cards have oddly low interest. So that's reasonable, right, Tana?
No, it's very high.
Credit cards are what, like 1-2% interest?
Credit cards are best when you just pay your balance every month.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well,
then you win.
Wouldn't this chart imply nobody's paying their balances because the balance is getting bigger?
Yes, that's what I'm worried about. Yes, that's
you know what's amazing about this chart though? Like, let me zoom in on it a little bit. Well, that's too zoomed, I guess. It looks weird. When it hit $1 trillion a handful of months ago, I mean, that was only like 3 months ago or something, 4 months ago. It's already almost at 1.1. It's already almost 10% higher than that in just a few months. This is a snowball that is rolling out of control. Is it a problem? I don't know. Janet said it wasn't. So you start to look at the other things. You start to look at delinquencies. For example, here's U.S. mortgage delinquencies where someone is behind 90 days or more on their mortgage. Now, mortgages are interesting because they're low. Tana, do you want to fess to the audience what your interest rate is on your house? Fine, I'll fess to mine. I got a 3.375% interest rate on my house.
Mine's a little bit higher than that, but
it would be very foolish for me to, we'll say, screw that up.
You do not want to refinance or
you don't want to screw that up, right? If you got a low rate, I mean, I had someone in the other day, a 30-year mortgage was at 2.7%.
Wow.
Made mine look high. I was mad. You don't want to screw that up. And so what's interesting is so far as of the third quarter, you can see delinquencies are extremely low. In fact, delinquencies are historically low, even from normal time periods, even from pre-08 when the market crashed here, they were almost double what they are now. So yeah, okay. So I guess the musical chairs, the plates spinning on sticks, whatever you want to say, is still dancing along. U.S. delinquency expectations. So this is consumer credit card companies and all these institutions that expect delinquencies to tick up. You can see for October, they have this 12% delinquency rate. But what's funny is here's a chart that goes back about 10 years. Honestly, it's even though it's creeped up lately, it's like kind of a historical, normal,
good point.
Exciting thing. So that didn't shock me too much.
Yeah.
So, it's it'll be the tale of two cities for us to see what happens here as we go into 2024. At the moment, Tana and I's consensus is you technically end up having a good year-end return on the S&P 500. Reason for that is presidential election years historically are good years. I know that this one is terrifying for everybody, totally understanding. But when you overlay the idea of potential rate cuts in there, and if those idiot analysts actually are half right and earnings are in fact up, to $230 on the S&P or 240 or whatever the number is, those are all positive things that could certainly drive the stock market higher. So geez Louise, this one's going a little longer than I expected, but just wanted to give kind of a market update. This is the holiday season, right? I don't care if you celebrate Christmas or not. This is the season that you should be nice to people. You should light the world. You should be kind to other people. Do something nice for somebody that you don't know. Hell, write your postman a card and leave it in your mailbox that you appreciate him, them bringing your stuff. Say something nice to the lady when you're checking out at the store. Whatever the thing is, take 2 seconds to make it not about you. And you have a little merrier Christmas and certainly make it nicer for someone else. So anyways, I don't know what else to say. Is that good, Tana?
That was great. Yep.
I talked your head off. Tana's like, why don't you just
No, it's perfect.
All right. If you guys got any calls, questions, concerns, you want to yell at us, say anything rude, feel free to do it in the comments on YouTube. All my other clients love to see your comments that are unfriendly. It makes for fun conversations around here. If you have anything that you want to chitty chat about, please give us a call, 805-500-7035. Visit our main website, thelindgroup.com. And everyone have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.